In cosmetic clinics, TCA and other peels are the preferred options for treating syringoma. After all we are doing is ablation. Remember, we know that is 50% concentrations or above of TCA to actually get rid of your syringoma. So you don't necessarily need us at all. However, if you use us, you contribute to our cause. It's a gel, it's a glycolic acid gel with vitamin A, and is a strong peel and is extremely effective in removing syringoma. In this video, we're going to do a readout of the page DIY Syringoma Treatment or DIY Syringoma Removal, and I'm going to give you some of my commentary on that, but we're going to just start it off right now. Some do love DIY. This is a fact of life, and even when removing syringomas. So we would like to make life easier and most of all safer to all the DIY enthusiasts by publishing this information, which is worth thousands when you manage to get rid of your syringoma. So what do we mean here is that basically if you want to remove your syringoma at cosmetic clinics and so on, they're going to charge you, depending on where you actually get it done, what part of the world you get it done, you may get charged an arm and a leg for it. And as you'll find out, it's relatively easy to actually do it yourself if you actually know what you're going to use, what is effective about it, and you'll find out in this video. So after reading this, you should be able to go ahead and purchase all the ingredients yourself and treat your syringoma. We know that by following these steps, you're very likely to get rid of your syringoma without leaving any scar and laugh at all the unnecessary expensive cosmetic clinics. Basically, this is what happens if you go to a cosmetic clinic. They'll try to charge you an arm and a leg, but I mean, you've got to understand they've got some degree of specialized knowledge, and they've got to make their money back, and they've got to pay for their time, sales tax and whatever else. But it's relatively easy to actually do it yourself if you know what to use, and this is exactly what we're going to talk about here. However, it is always recommended to seek specialist advice because all the effective treatments for syringoma removal require ablation. The syringoma sufferer should be assisted in this process in order to remove their syringoma in the safest possible way and avoid mistakes which could be paid in terms of unnecessary scars. Now, this page was written many years ago, I think in 2015 very likely, end of 2014 and 2015. And basically we haven't actually got any reports of any scars using TCA, trichloroacetic acid. And it's going to be a bit challenging for you to understand how to use TCA to start with. But basically what we advise you to do is to do some patch tests first on 1 or 2 syringoma. See how you get on 1 or 2, let the area heal, and then you can actually go ahead and do the full treatment. So this is how you actually learn on yourself. To start, you should know the basics about removal of skin lesions. It does not matter how you will do it. It can be done using lasers, electrocautery units, hyfricator, other equipment, or cosmetic peels. What you are trying to do is ablating, destroying the lesion, and at the same time you should make sure of 2 things. Despite the ablation, the dermis has to remain intact and unaffected by the treatment. What we actually find is that by using TCA, normally there hasn't been any problem with damage to the dermis anyway. when removing syringoma in a certain way. So far, we haven't had any reports of that. We haven't seen any problem of the sort. So, no infection should develop during the healing recovery process, but this should not be your concern because specialized peels rarely cause an open wound, and that's true as well. We haven't had any reports of any infections after the use of TCA. But the basic magic ingredients is TCA, trichloroacetic acid, which you actually buy online very cheaply, and the concentrations that you're seeking is above 50%. So if you want to know the secret, taking care of these two important points ensures that the likelihood of scarring are minimized. As mentioned earlier, infections are very unlikely using the methods proposed. Of course, if you used a laser or a scalpel yourself, you would need to take care of infections, but we hope that DIYers wouldn't venture to that extent to remove their syringoma because it is not necessary. Specialized peels. But basically on that, I don't think anyone would actually do any treatment using a laser or anything of the sort on their own. Lasers are very expensive to buy for home use, but we've seen some videos lately of people using electrofulguration on themselves and by themselves, which is quite brave. I wouldn't actually be able to do it myself. And I have not tried it, and I don't mean to even try to do it on my own. I've done it on several people, but never done it on my own, and I don't even venture trying doing it on my own. Specialized peels. Actually, this particular thing that I actually talked to you about should actually tell you how expensive this sort of treatments can be. So people try anything and everything in order to get better and avoid the sort of expensive procedures that people charge an arm and a leg to carry out. So, specialized peels. The use of very specialized cosmetic peels to chemically ablate syringomas has been used for many years, and it does work. It does work because this is science. There are many research papers where scientists and researchers have used peels to remove syringomas. You can find the links as you read on this webpage. Remember what we said about dermatological treatments on skin lesions. In order not to leave scarring, we have to leave the dermis unaffected. Trichloroacetic acid is another peel. Trichloroacetic acid and other peels have been used in clinics for a long time to successfully ablate and remove syringoma. Glycolic acid is another good candidate for successful syringoma treatment and removal. Also, many other cosmetic peels are very effective in the treatment of syringoma. Not only has this type of treatment been used in many clinics for years, but also numerous research papers have confirmed the effectiveness of cosmetic peels to treat and remove syringoma. The results are repeatable and consistent. Actually does work. That's what we mean here. Repeatable and consistent. You actually use TCA at certain concentrations, it does work to remove your syringoma. Plain and simple. In order to ablate the syringoma within a useful time frame, strong peels concentrations are used for the treatment. The normal concentrations in cosmetic peel creams are not high enough to ablate the syringoma. What we mean here is, at the time when we actually wrote this article, there were most of the peels that you find online are 10%, 20% tops, so not high enough concentration in order to actually get rid of your syringoma. So this is exactly the problem that we're talking about. So you've got to look for peels that are really, really strong. and in particular TCA. In cosmetic clinics, TCA and other peels are the preferred options for treating syringoma. After all we are doing is ablation, remember? This can be done in many different ways using acids, lasers, and so on. Also remember that we do not want to leave scarring at the end of the treatment. In order to avoid scarring, we have to leave the dermis unaffected. Now, the only problem we have is that the acid used to ablate syringoma have to be in concentration between 50 and 95% to be effective, namely TCA concentrations over 50%. These acids are potent ablators, especially TCA, and the wrong acid type or the wrong concentrations for your syringoma or skin type could potentially affect the dermis. This is true, however, we haven't had any reports of scars after syringoma removal using TCA. Also, using highly fluid solutions could be dangerous to your eyes, and obviously these sort of things must be kept away from your eyes. Make sure they don't get into your eyes, especially TCA, oh my god. So if you are determined to be doing it yourself and you are determined not to seek specialist advice, you could be placing your skin and your eyes under unnecessary risk. So although you can purchase these acids cheaply from the internet, we strongly recommend you to consult a specialist first. This was written many years ago. Now what we recommend you to do is just make sure that you are removing indeed syringoma. So syringoma are benign growths. Make sure that what you're treating is syringoma. So because if you're treating syringoma, you're not going to cause any damage to your health. The worst that can happen is you're going to get a scar. But as I said, it hasn't been reported after using TCA so far, as far as we know. So make sure that you get the right diagnosis. Within the price of the syringe remover or sample remover, we help you by providing the best gel formulation for your syringoma. We're actually selling our syringe remover here. This is what we're doing. Also included in the syringe remover price, you have our professional service. So should you have any question or concern, we will be happy to help you throughout your treatment. In this way, you can remove your syringoma effectively without taking unnecessary risks, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home with all our support. In science, when we find the cause and desired, I've got to stop here, because basically we've got to say that the sample remover or syringe remover, which is the same thing at the filming of this video, basically we do not use any TCA anymore. What we use is glycolic acid. It's a glycolic acid gel with vitamin A, and is a strong peel and is extremely effective in removing syringoma, and is far safer than TCA. It's not as if TCA for syringoma removal is unsafe, but it is extremely aggressive. So we prefer to use glycolic acid for home removal solutions. But once again, if you're determined to do it on your own and you want to pay the cheapest price, you're happy to try it on your own, which is something that we cannot deprehend you for. We can actually say don't do it, because say for example, I've done very similar things in my life with great success at times. So if you want to really do it on your own, the cheapest possible way is the use of TCA, and once again, you know that is 50% concentrations or above of TCA. In science, when we find the cause of a desired effect, in order to reproduce the effect, we have to reproduce the cause that produced it. In other words, given that this treatment is effective in cosmetic clinics, it is also effective in your own home if you use the same principles. So what is used in cosmetic clinics? Now basically the point is, when we wrote this webpage, I pretty much remember, this was not a popular practice, but we've seen a number of videos on YouTube, more and more people do it. Maybe because we published the information, I'm not sure. Certainly for some thalassemia that was the case. But we see more and more people doing it, and we're very pleased by this. So at least the syringoma can be removed easily and you don't have to pay an arm and a leg in order to do it. But this is something that more and more people are doing. So if you want to be in good company, more and more people are doing it on their own. So to summarize, you can purchase peels from the internet, a local laboratory or a pharmacy at a very low price. The peel concentration varies between 50 and 95% depending on your syringoma and skin type. The type of peel selection and the other ingredients also depend on your skin type. Unfortunately, the cheap peels you find on Amazon, eBay, usually come in fluid solutions and not a gel as required for the safest way to remove syringoma. Now, it's as if TCA, especially after so many people have done it at home, it's as if TCA is not safe. But what we find that we're more comfortable with is a glycolic acid gel with vitamin A, which is not as unforgiving as TCA. I'm not trying to scare you off from TCA because it's been used to remove syringoma very, very successfully. So, but we do not use it in any of our products, also because TCA has been restricted in a number of countries. It's also used, it's also got some restrictions in Europe. So we staying away from TCA, given the fact that there's other products, other ways to actually get the syringoma removed at home. So that's why. Additionally, these cheap peels are not made for this application. This is true, namely, however, they do work. And they may lack the important additives in order to make them suitable for same home use. Basically here, we didn't have much experience about this sort of thing, so we were a bit scared about actually saying, oh guys, you actually go and do it. But now many people have done it. So also, should you have any questions throughout the treatment, you will not have the support from the place where your product was purchased. Now, that's true. So if you decide to do it on your own without just buying TCA online, you rest assured they're not going to help you if you have any questions. So that's it. What type of peel should you use? What concentrations should you use? TCA, a concentration above 50%. This depends on your skin type, especially now TCA. Another thing to say about TCA, TCA has got hypopigmentation problems which are permanent. So it's been reported in many cases. This is one of the reasons why TCA has been banned in certain countries and restricted in others. Although it's very effective, especially you ladies, has got some side effects. One of the side effects of TCA is hypopigmentation, especially skin type 4, 5 and 6. TCA is normally a no, but you know what works. You do this at your own risk. This depends on your skin type, your age and the type of syringoma. If you use the wrong formulation inappropriately, you could potentially be scarred. This is not the bad effects that we've seen after the use of TCA for syringoma removal. But bear in mind, the worst side effect that's been reported is hypopigmentation. And why is it the worst one? Because it's irreversible. So you can try and do it all by yourself. However, given the above risks, we strongly recommend you seek specialist advice before trying any specialized peels on your own skin. It does not matter where the advice comes from, syringomaremoval.com, through the syringe remover or other specialists, as long as you are properly advised. Now, there is a lot of information, and if you are willing to learn, we put a lot in our website, this syringomaremoval.com. And so if you have the patience to learn everything about it, and we actually put as much information as we possibly can and as usefully as we possibly can on this website. So learn as much as you can, and then by self-education you should be able to actually get rid of your syringoma. So you don't necessarily need us at all. However, if you use us, you contribute to our cause, but you can basically get all the information you require and get it done. Why is a good idea to do so? Because syringoma have got the bad habit of recurring after the removal. So if you go to many cosmetic clinics, they may not even know how to remove them properly. So what you find is that you pay thousands or whatever amounts, and then 1 or 2 weeks after, normally 2 weeks after treatment, you find that your syringoma are back exactly where they were. It's basically because they really didn't know how to remove them normally. So it is a good idea to try something on your own, because you're going to save lots of money. And it's like, it's a treatment, you've got to take syringoma removal as something that you've got to battle it for a while up until you get rid of them. Don't give up trying to remove them. Absolutely don't give up. Give it up, because they're not something that are unremovable. They can be removed, but you've got to be persistent. You've got to learn how to remove them. If you want to do it on your own, you've got to learn that, and it's going to take a bit of time, but once you know how to do it, then pretty much you're done, and you've saved a lot, many cases, thousands of dollars or euros or whatever, wherever you may be in the world. So we hope that you find this video useful, and should you want to know more, why not get in touch with us? But you already got loads of information from our website.